Right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen who have joined us on this Dr. Fundi channel via multiple social media channels, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and also via the Dr. Fundi website. My name is Fundi Lenyati. I'm the host on this channel. Today, we have an interesting interview in prospect. We normally talk about matters of health, but there's another side to me, which is the side of being an entrepreneur. So today, I decided that we need to tap into the area of entrepreneurship, but focusing on, profiling somebody who is a young person who is hustling and trying to make things happen. Right, so our special guest today is a young man called Zizipho. They normally call him Zizman, Nogwaza. Right, so this young man is a very impressive young man. He is a certified social entrepreneur who's accredited by the University of KwaZulu-Natal Graduate School of Business. You'll ask me, what is a social entrepreneur? Now, a social entrepreneur is somebody who establishes an enterprise with the aim of solving social problems or effecting social change. So this is somebody who doesn't just go into business just to make money. Yes, when you get into business, you must not be apologetic about it. You go there so that the money you put in, you get returns on that money, meaning you must make a profit. But nowadays, going into business with the sole aim of making money is not enough. You also need to address and provide solutions to the social ills that are in the environment in which you want to operate. That way, your business becomes, a business with a social conscience, a business that is relevant to the people that you are targeting to provide services or sell products to. So he is a certified social entrepreneur. He's also a newly appointed franchise liaison person for the Alpha Farm Group for the Eastern Cape province. Right? We will know that the Alpha Farm Group is a pharmacy group. You've got your discounts, you've got your clicks, but also there are franchises that are called Alpha Farm. And he has been appointed to be a franchise liaison person for the Alpha Farm Group across the Eastern Cape. But his real business is that he's a founder and an executive director of Preeminent Minds Pty Limited, a business that was established in 2015, May 2015. So it's just close to being 6 years old. It will be 6 years old next month. That is May 2021. But he is not only a founder and the director of Preeminent Minds, he's also a founder and executive director of Tunzikwena Security and Cleaning Company. All right. So already you can see that we are talking of somebody who is not putting eggs in one basket, is somebody who clearly would like to be like a Bidvest in years to come, where he has got interests in different, industries. He's also a shareholder of Oli's Enterprise Construction Company. Okay. But also he describes himself as a co-creator and enterprise design thinking, partner where they offer essential AI solutions. So he's into IT as well. But he describes his main business, Prominent Mind, as a boutique services company that provides ICT services, marketing and advertising, corporate branding, events management, professional business advisory services. All right, so we are talking here of somebody who is very busy. He has got a lot of interests, and he is a dreamer of note. He describes himself as a goal-getter. He describes himself as a risk taker who is prepared to jump off a cliff to take risk for as long as that risk will provide a better future for himself and his family. He describes himself on LinkedIn as a person who's got a can-do mentality. You know, that as an entrepreneur, he can create anything that he wants to create because entrepreneurship to him gives him space to dream, gives him space to do things. In terms of qualifications, he's got some Bachelor of Business Admin, from UNISA School of Business Leadership, which he did between 2008 and 2014. He's also been doing some studying with UKZN, again, a business school there, who started last year, and there he's done something on social entrepreneurship and also their champion program. But when it comes to entrepreneurship, one always, is faced with this question. Are people born entrepreneurs or are entrepreneurs made? Does one have to go to business school and acquire an MBA, a BBA, DBA for you to be a successful entrepreneur? Or those skills are necessary, but are not necessarily, the requirement for one to be a successful entrepreneur? I'm going to ask him that question. What is his view around that? But before we get to asking questions from him, I think it's time for me to welcome him. It's time to welcome him, Mr. Nogwaza. Please come in and introduce yourself to my viewers, to your viewers. A lot of your social media followers have joined us via Facebook, via YouTube, via multiple channels, because you are big in East Griqualand, in the area that was, a farm town called Coxted, named after a leader called Adam Koch, many, many centuries ago. So welcome to the Dr. Fundi channel, Zizman.
Thanks a lot, Doc. First and foremost, Doc, I want to take this opportunity and say I'm so honored. As you can listen that I'm saying so after so. It means I'm so honored, Doc, to be chosen to be one of your guests in your channel. In fact, at Dr. Fundi YouTube channel and big platforms. I've been looking forward to this. We've been interacting on Facebook, but I was waiting for this day and say I've been watching your channel, what you did, and the impact that you're making in the community. I said one day maybe you're going to notice me that I'm also a serial entrepreneur. Yeah, also. Yeah. I regard myself that the business is my extreme sport. It's something that I do as a sport because I love wholeheartedly when it comes to business transaction. It's not something that I fake. As you did introduce me, I like how you did profile me. Give me that goosebumps and say, I'm really big, really. I didn't know that I had that much influence. But today, salute, Doc. I'm so humble, very humble as a young man who pushed himself to where I am today without having to groan and moan and chasing government or trying to destroy or protesting outside the government institution, asking them to do me a favor. But I told myself that let me venture out and do something different because I know youth of today are the people who use energy to fight. So I don't want to do that.
Mr. Nogwaza. You're gonna have all the time, but we need to just clear a few things.
Okay.
All right? We just need to clear a few things. How old are you?
I'm 33 years old, to be precise. I'm 33 years old. I'm turning 34 on July this year.
You started being an entrepreneur at the age of 27.
Yes,
if next month you are gonna be 6 years with your business, Permanent Mind.
Yes.
All right. So at age of 27, you decided you want to be an entrepreneur. But before we get to that, just tell us a little bit, where do you come from? What kind of family do you come from? When I say what kind of family here, are you coming from a big family, small family, middle child, firstborn, lastborn? I just want to have a sense of this person we are celebrating today, called Zizman.
Thanks for the question, Doc. I would say that I'm coming from the ordinary small family from Tabankulu. Tabankulu is a small town, one of the smallest towns in Eastern Cape. I was born and bred there. I hail from Tabankulu. So I'm from the ordinary family. To tell you that entrepreneurship, I never learned from someone at home, but it's something that it just come as a passion. No one was a serial entrepreneur before me at home. So even my sisters are working. So I did something which is totally different. And they keep asking me, how do you come up with this thing of entrepreneurship?
Mama, you're moving fast. You're moving fast. We still want to understand the influences in that family of yours. Yes, you just told us now that you did not learn entrepreneurship from the family surroundings. But what are the things, what are the values, what are the things ozfunde ekhaya, from your parents, from your uncles, things that are actually helping you in this journey of entrepreneurship?
One thing I learned, don't thank for the question, Doc, once again. One thing I learned from home is to be independent. Do something for yourself.
Yes.
Do something for yourself. They taught me how to be independent away from the system, not become a dependent. Always go around begging people. But they said to me, you know what, Zizman, we have a capacity and the potential to make things happen for yourself. We are a shaker, we are a mover. So that inspiration that I draw from my family, they always tell me about it.
Yes. So you went to Mount Elif High. Okay,
yes.
That's where you did your high school, right? Now, just tell us a little bit about that Mount Elif High. Was there anything that actually sharpened your mind there and made you to think, you know what, I am not going to be employed for long. I want to actually employ myself? Because I noticed that you only worked for 2 years for the ABSA group, and clearly you did not like it. Within 2 years, you decided, you know what, let me go employ myself. So is there anything at Mount Elif High that maybe helped you to think about entrepreneurship? Or is there somebody in the community, whether it's in Tabankulu or in Kokstead, in your environs, that you looked up to, in terms of the journey of entrepreneurship?
Thanks again for the question, Doc. When I started my high school, I chose the commercial subjects, which include the accounting, economics, business studies. Yes. So from there, it triggers me and give an idea that one day I'll be a businessman. It started from there, the passion from the high school level. When I was doing this business management and economics as well as the accounting, when I calculating those money from ledger and stuff, so those things triggered the inspiration and sparked me to say, you know what, one day I'm gonna be a businessman. So Mount Elif did inspire me from there. From the perspective inspiration side, I have a graded in my family, because my family is big. There is Makata, there is Mzaza, as you see, that's my big brother. So there is my granddad who I used to stay with in the same yard with. I rented to him when I was working at Upside 2008. He's a business mogul in Tabankulu. He's having a lot of shops and the buildings that are rented from him. He's a tenant, and there's a lot in a way. So I always ask him many things when I was working at ABSA. So, Granddad, would you please mentor me? I want to start a business. I don't want to stay longer in working in a corporate world. I want to grasp the little bit of experience and then left him.
Yeah.
He also had a value in terms of trying to establish myself when it comes to the business side.
Yeah. So, guide, in those early days, to show you the ropes a little bit.
You did, Doc. You did.
Yes. All right. And so, you worked for ABSA for 2 years. How was that experience? When you knew that ultimately you want to be a self-employed person, you want to be a business person and make things happen. So that 2 years that you were working for, a blue chip company in the banking sector, how was it for you?
Thanks again, Doc, for the question. During my time when I was working for ABSA Bank in 2008 and 2009, well, I resigned in 2010 on June. So I learned many things because when I started working there, I went there as a teller. So from there, they promoted me to a business teller. So I was dealing with all bar cash, with the people who are coming to deposit all bar cash from the business. So that thing, I draw inspiration from those different business people. You can imagine when you are handling a large sum amount of money from this supermarket in the areas, and then you get to know, you know what, one day I'm gonna be a businessman. Because the language that we're speaking on that time, because I was dealing with the business clients, people who would like to get that customer care, high degree of customer care, level of professionalism, because we're dealing with people who are sensitive, carrying a large cash of money. So from there, I learned that I'm going to be a businessman.
High value type of clients that you.
Yes, high value type of clients. So I learned from them one day that I'm going to be a businessman also.
Yes. Is there anything out of interacting with them that also just made you to believe that indeed this is the route I want to take? As you were interacting with them, I mean, a person like you who's got the gift of the gab, I'm sure you were not just servicing them, keeping quiet. You were talking to them, you were asking for some tips or ideas about this and that. So is there anything that you took out of those interactions that actually made you to be sure that this is the route I want to take?
Let me confess for the first time, Doc, with you. What I normally did when I was interacting with these clients, I normally take notes. But when you work in the bank is a very sensitive area where you need to pay attention. You cannot do something while you're helping the client. The cameras are there, so you need to make sure that you focus because you are dealing with the bar cash here. So anything can happen during the process of counting this money. So normally, I usually ask those people from the different industry of their mobile business that they are running. Every kind of a tip that I receive, I'll write it down quickly. Like I used to have an ideation design studio. So my little thing that where I write my skeleton and diagram, I'll ask someone that's okay, how did you start your wholesale? What was the challenges and stuff? Did you start the business plan? What was the compliance? All those things. Someone will say, no, you need to start with this. I write down. So during the years of 2 years dealing with those business clients, high profile clients, I usually took notes, shared it somewhere so that the branch manager won't see it. But I'm convincing now, if I can tell them that, thank you very much for helping me. Otherwise, I was taking the hints and tips while I was servicing those clients. So I usually take the notes and put it underneath on my desk. Then I said, one day I'm going to be a businessman. Indeed, when I jumped out of ABSA, I took all these notes for all these 2 years. I think I come up with a notebook, the two-wire. I read all those things. And when I resigned, I took my two-wire with me and I go with me. I start to try to implement those. They were telling me, start to conduct the research in depth.
Yeah. Now, that's good. That's good. Now, so did you jump out and start your business concept, or did you work on it privately whilst you were having the comfort of a job?
What I did, Doc, I resigned in 2010 on June.
Yeah.
I left because I was working at my hometown, Tabakolo. Yeah. Before I resigned, I was working with Monfrey when you go to Amtat. Was promoted to that branch. It was a big branch compared to Tabakolo. So when I resigned there, I went to Victoria from 2010, 11, 12, 13, 14.
Yeah.
What I was doing there, Doc, I was seeking for a practical mentorship.
Yeah.
Because I did business management theory. So I didn't have a practical. I want to get a practical insight of how to run a business. So for this full 4 years, I did a mentorship because there is a house for my aunt in Victoria. So I stayed there for all these years, looking with different people to mentor me, asking those questions. I'm that person who's curious, though, by nature. Yeah. So I would go to this big company and ask them to mentor me for free and gaining an experience, even if they don't pay me much. I was saying that I don't want your money, but I want to study the system, how to make sure that when I start my own company, I'll be able to run with it efficiently.
Yes.
So for this 4 years before I opened my company in 2015, I was doing the mentorship program all this year to learn about the business, in and out, dynamics, pros and cons, all those things and fundamental.
Yes. And then when you felt that you were sufficiently skilled, you then decided, I'm going to take the plunge. All right. So we're going to get to that point now. So at what point did you then decide, I think I'm ready to go and start something now?
I remember very well, Doc, when it was on May 5th of May 2015, when I said, you know what, I was back in Coxstate.
Yeah.
Because my sister is working here in Coxstate. So we bought a house here in Coxstate and said, you know what, I'm coming back now. I'm ready to start a business. And you remember, Coxstate is one of the economic hubs. The mini economic hub was around the town, like Tabampur, Matatiele, Bizarre, they shop around here in Coxstate. Yeah. So Coxstate is much convenient when it comes to many things that you're looking for as a businessman. So I said, when I come back home, well, I think I come back home sometimes during 2014, and then on 2015, I wake up on the 5th of May that I'm going to register my own company. Yeah. To tell you, Dog, I remember when in my pocket I only got about 350 rand for me to register my company on CIPC. I didn't have capital, any working capital, any operational capital, nothing in my bank account. I was dry, no savings, no nothing. So, but I said I want to start my company.
Okay. Just before we get to that part, I just want to understand, you always saw yourself as somebody who's going to go into business. Are there any qualities within you that you believed that these are the qualities that will make me a good businessman when I eventually decide to venture out into business?
I like that question, Todd. You know, what first thing that I invested in, it was the high professionalism, the customer care. Because once I started business, I started the foundation. Yeah. I started the planning of it before I take out the concept of the people.
Mr. Nogwaza. I'm talking about inherent qualities.
Okay. As a person.
Yes, one of the things you mentioned earlier, even in your LinkedIn, is that you've got a high appetite for risk. And you cannot be an entrepreneur when you don't have a high appetite for risk. So I'll give you copies it.
Okay.
What other qualities did you think you have that would make you to be a successful entrepreneur? Having interacted and observed your uncle, the business people that were your clients, the people that were mentoring you when you were up here, what are those 3 or 4 things that convinced you that, you know what, not everybody can be an entrepreneur, but because I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 qualities or characteristics, I think I can make it there.
I've got you clear now, Joe. I think I'm gonna listen to bullet point forms. Allow me to listen to bullet point forms. 1, persistence. 2, endurance. 3, enthusiasm. 4,
I think, Imam Shagas, as you are listing them, just explain a little bit why you think that's an important quality to be an entrepreneur. So, Mastale Pabu, Mute persistence.
Yeah, persistence.
Yeah. Okay. Let's start there.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Miguel? Yes.
No. All right. No, it's fine. When it comes to the persistence, I'm that person who chose myself and do me and be me and do things differently, not copy from someone. What information that I gather, I say I need to pair it with the persistence so that I can see it, brewing it. So I can see it grows me to be a better person when it comes to business. It means the persistence is the driving wheel where it pushed me to start investing in high degree of research so that I can be more persistent.
More of a staying power, ube focused, even if it's setbacks. If there are setbacks or things are taking longer, but you are just focused on what you want to do.
Yes,
you are not going to be distracted by any setbacks or delays, because sometimes some things are outside of your scope of control. All right, persistence. what else did you think it's within you that was a key, success factor?
Another success factor to me is consistency. Consistency, it means I was that person who allowed myself to grow gradually. And I was consistent in what I'm doing in terms of fine-tuning myself and polish my skill as a business person. So I was willing to learn every day, to get new knowledge every day without having to give up. I met a lot of setbacks where I really feel I want to give up. But because of the consistency, I said, let me talk about my business every day. So that when the people know about my brand, eventually they will buy in my product and services in our company.
Okay. Kubegeka, any other qualities that you saw in yourself that convinced you that you will be a very good entrepreneur?
Commitment. With the commitment I paid, I always strive for excellence. So I commit myself that I sacrificed my youth days, because remember, I started my company at the age of 27 years old, which I know I was supposed to do what the youths are doing in these days. I won't mention what are those, but I have to commit myself and say, you know what, because I want this thing so badly. So I must choose between either I do what the youths are doing at 27 years old, or either I commit myself in growing this brand of mine, Permanent Mind. Then I said, let me commit myself fully. Because remember, Doc, the business demand 100% of your time. So I cannot lie about that. It's not even 99% of your time. You know that you're also running your own company. So you need to also then make sure that you always commit yourself, so that you make sure everything runs according to your wishes.
Yes. And is there anything else? Yes, you've told us about risk-taking. You've told us about persistence. You've told us about commitment, and also just the fact that you were focused. You were not going to be sidetracked by going to Ebumnandini. You were going to give 100% of your time to your venture. Yes, what else?
The last one, I think is the last one, optimistic. So I was optimistic to myself that, for every individual, when you talk about business person, we are the one of the high motivated individual. So if you're not that person who want to be optimistic about yourself and say, I'm taking this route or career path, knowing that it's not an easy thing to do. So I need to always do the self-introspection, meditating, and tell my mind and myself that I'm going to make it. I'm going to do it. Regardless of what the setbacks, the challenges that I'm facing, but I'm going to keep on being optimistic, because this is what I was born for. When you love something, you even say that this thing was meant for me. I was born to be a serial entrepreneur. So once you're optimistic, every day when you wake up, you say, I want to do it. I want to improve myself.
All right. So clearly, from what you've just said, I'm looking here at something that I had just, looked at. Obviously, before all of the things that you've spoken about, especially when you were starting the business, you needed to dream. So it means you must be a visionary, you must be able to see things even before they manifest and work towards the fulfillment of those things. So you could see Prominent Minds even before it was existing. I actually said you are a dreamer of note. In the thing I wrote, making people aware that I'll be interviewing you. So you are actually a dreamer, and as an entrepreneur, you must be a dreamer. You must be able to visualize something. In fact, in my early days of entrepreneurship, one of the books that I read by Stephen Covey, the 7 Habits of the Highly Effective People. The second, habit there is, beginning with the end in mind, meaning you dream it, you see it, you get so, consumed by it, and you work every day towards making sure that it comes to reality. Being your Facebook friend, I know that you are quite a dreamer, and focus, simplicity, other some of those things, creativity. You've got a strong creative side, which is why you are able to assist other up-and-coming SMEs with ideas around marketing, ideas around advertising, running videos, to market your clients, coming up with branding collaterals or branding elements, and all of that. You can't do that if you're not a creative person. All right. And you are actually multi-talented kind of person. So yes, no, I just wanted to be clear, to say, even before you started, you knew that there are certain things that you already have within you. You might not have the money, okay? You did not have the money to start your business, but you had other, things. You had, certain qualities within you that were actually, so you were not just coming, uzeka nyenkosi, you had stuff that was actually critical, which if you add money to that, then you can be able to move forward. All right. So how did you then come up with Prominent Minds? What did you have in mind about this boutique business called Prominent Minds?
Thank you for the question once again, Doc. I'm actually enjoying this conversation. I'm actually enjoying. Prominent Minds, I think, is something that when I was, it came like, as you said, it came like a dream. It's something that I finished when I was in my sleep. And I said, what? Prominent Minds, Prominent Minds, Prominent Minds. It's something like, if you take the minds and the prominent, it's someone who is very creative, who want to do something extraordinary for himself or herself. That's when the Prominent Minds come across in my mind. I said, I want the name that will relate with the creative that we talk about and the multi-talent that I have. I'm that person who doesn't believe in staying in one lane. Of course, I don't want to get on other people's lane, but when I'm on my lane, I want to change those lanes correctly in terms of making sure that I explore, I discover more talent, and make sure that I discover many things. Hence, I'm saying that I love to do the research most of the time.
Yes. All right. So you had a dream that you will have this company called Prominent Minds. How did you then come up with the offerings to say, these are the services or these are the products I want to sell? And obviously, starting before then is, how did you identify that there is a market need for the things that you wanted to sell, whether it's services or products?
Thank you very much again for the question, Doc. When I was compiling the services for our company, I first checked my customer stage in terms of doing the market analysis summary. I did the market analysis summary completely. When I'm done, I said, I need to say that will complement each other. I wanted to create a one-stop shop. How? If you talk about an ICT, let's say you meet someone and say, I have a business. I'm looking for a website. Then I ask him, do you have a corporate identity to know corporate branding? Do you have a corporate identity for a company, logo, letterhead? And say, no, I don't. Okay, fine, I can offer that service for you. Then, have ever a company being launched? I'm not looking for marketing. Marketing drive for a company, you have to invest in aggressive marketing, viral marketing, content marketing for a company. And said, no, that's not a client. And then I asked him, do you have a business plan for a company, concept document, business proposal? Are you looking for any training? Because I'm also a qualified facilitator, as a co-creator, accredited by IBM. So if one person comes to my office, I try to make sure that he must get all these services in my office, even if he came to just register for domain, but must be able to make sure that he get all these services in the office without having to go to another office or another company. That's how I formulate my services.
So you wanted a one-stop shop business.
Yes, business. Yes, of course.
If somebody comes for one service,
yes,
to do what we normally say is you expand or you increase your wallet share.
Yes.
Meaning, you try and get more from his wallet by doing good on this one service that he or she came here for, and explore related services that will complement this. And in so doing, you then end up getting more of the money from his wallet.
Yes, you're precisely correct.
That was your plan.
You're precisely correct, George.
Your plan, because when you are starting a business, you obviously look for clients, new clients, but also you also have to look at what else can I offer the ones who are already here. You know, and so it sounds like your plan, your growth plan as a new business was at two levels: acquiring new clients and also cross-selling other services on the existing clients. And
Yes.
whether it is new business on an old client or new client, the end game is that you are billing more. That's how I'm hearing you as part of your growth strategy when you started your Prominent Minds.
Yeah, President, correct, George. You explained it very well. President.
Yes. Yes. All right. And you know, so those first few months of you having launched your business, you know, there are days where no one comes, you know, and I'm not even sure whether you had an office or you were operating from the boot of a car. Can you just tell us those early days? You know, how did you launch your business? Did you have premises that maybe some rich uncle gave you space to operate from, or you actually used the boot of your car to sell your services?
For the past, I think from 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, I operated my company at a back door at home. I bought it. You know this thing called prefab that they use with the white people. Yeah, I bought a prefab. I put in the back of the yard at home. So I used that as my office from 2015, 16, 17, 18, because I didn't have the money for rental, of course, for obvious reasons. So I said, you know what? Let me do some savings. Let me buy this prefab. Was it about 5,000 rand? I bought it and I put it here as my office at home. So I worked at home for full 4 years. I mean, for full years. Then up until I got a full strength, and then I have enough savings to start opening the office in the CBD area with much more convenience for all clients all around in Coxhead. But as I'm answering your question, in the early days, Doc, I won't lie, it was so difficult. You know, when you regret and say, I want to go back to the payroll now. Because I used to get money on the 20th of every month, but there's no bank notification on the 20th. You always put 5 rand in your pocket, like, how am I going to survive for the next 31 days if I have 5 rand? And then people are not coming because, you know, as I was saying, that consistency. The consistency came from where I said, I need to sell more of this brand so that people become on top of the people's mind and they start to relate themselves to Prominent Mind and start to buy our product and services. But in the early days, it was difficult, Dr. One line, it was very difficult.
Yes. Now, I mean, a few weeks ago, I hosted, I'll call him a brand guru here in South Africa, you know, Mr. Tebe Ikalafeng, you know, and we were talking about issues of branding and also issues of personal branding. They have just started an academy, you know, which offers a variety of programs. But anyway, one of the things he mentioned was that sometimes entrepreneurs, they are challenged by the fact that they don't know whether to lift up the brand of the company that they are setting up as in Prominent Minds, or to actually aggressively sell the personal brand of the founder, the entrepreneur, which is Zizman, Zizipho, you know. And I just want to find out from you, in those early days, did you push the brand Prominent Minds, or did you push your brand, Zizipho, Zizman, or you actually tried to do both?
I can say, Doc, I did both because I remember when I started to be noticed in the industry, when I was organizing one of the biggest festivals here in Coxhead, and called JKM Festival. You know, I was managing that event very well. You know, when you talk about the brand alignment, when you start to book those people who are known like DJ Taylor or Skid or all the big names in South Africa, people will start to notice you. What is this guy? And then we are told that is a main manager of the company. Who's this man? And the next thing they start to relate themselves or they start familiarize themselves with the name Zizman. That way the name came out. As well, when I was doing that, I also promote the company process because I was saying that the service is done under the banner of events management and coordination. So please bear with us. If you're looking for a company to manage or coordinate any size of event, you can count on us as Prominent Mind, as well as the leader is Zizman. So the name Zizman, as well as Prominent Mind, come in pair with people and say, no, okay, we know Prominent Mind is owned by Zizman. That's how I did. So I promote myself through those days in doing those social events, because you attract thousands of people on those events, and you start having a conversation with different people, dishing out your business card as Prominent Mind that also did the services for you. So I built a network from there. I start to be recognized in the area by many people from the events.
Now, one of the things that is normally said about being an entrepreneur is that you must not be fearful of rejection. All right.
Yes.
And
yes.
many people say this. Jack Ma, the big guy from China, who came with Alibaba and all the other big, one of the things he says is that as an entrepreneur, you must not be afraid, of being rejected. Meaning you knock on many doors, but sometimes those doors may not necessarily open the first time around, or you must not feel discouraged. So he says you must get used to rejection if you are an entrepreneur. Now I want to ask you, in those early days, how did you take rejection when you went on cold calls, trying to source business? People don't know you. They see this scrawl, small young man who talks a lot and is promising them heaven and earth. How did you take rejection?
I won't mention the name of the municipality, but I remember one time, I think it was the same year that I started this company of mine. I developed a very big intent viable business proposal. Then I wanted to image this district municipality in my area.
Yeah.
Then I go to their LG office. What it was to develop people in the area of economy. Because I'm that person who's always driven when it comes. I'm the catalyst for transformation and economic development. That's who I am. I'm very passionate when it comes to economic development, anything with economic hubs and stuff. So this business proposal was about developing economic hubs, different economic hubs. So when I went there to ask for a meeting, so I meet the manager there, I showed them the proposal. It was big, I won't lie, because I like writing.
Yeah.
The first thing that they told me was that it was not written by you. This is a copy and paste. I tried to argue with them that you can take the document, I can read page by page without even reading by looking at it. Yeah. Still, they were never convinced. To an extent, they say, who are you? Where you come from? We don't have such people like you in the area. So I felt undermined, and someone told me, you don't have a capacity. You cannot do this, what you're doing here. Yeah. So it was the first form of rejection. To an extent, I keep asking myself when I go out in this office, because I was angry at myself. Yeah. I felt like I'm reduced, or I'm not good for this. I asked too many questions. Should I continue to be a business person, or should I go back to the corporate world and working for someone? But I said, no, you know what? The rejections are part of forming up my growth. I'm going to learn from them. Next time, I'm going to polish myself well. I'm going to prove them wrong. I'll continue investing in myself until I'm fine. But today, they are working with me because they see the quality of my work as I grow up.
Yes. All right. So, so you were able to overcome those early days of being rejected, people doubting your abilities, some of them actually thinking that you are an imposter of some kind, who is claiming that they can do 1, 2, 3, but actually they don't think you can back up what you are saying with actually doing. So you got to a point where your brand was starting to be recognized in the East Griqualand space, in the Eastern Cape, and people now were starting, there was referral from your previous clients. And how was that experience, getting repeat business and also getting referrals from some of your satisfied clients? Did it encourage you that I'm on the right track, even though I might have, had some few rejections or doubters?
let me reflect back on my journey when I first nailed one of the job in one of the big corporate companies when I was doing training for Shell. No, Shell, it's a big corporate company. It was 2016 to be precisely. When I get this job of doing from the designs to printing out their marketing material. So the first time when I get the positive review. Shell is a big corporate company, of course. It doesn't take any kind of a company, but they gave us a benefit of the doubt that we are the small business here in Coxet, also Shell is in Coxet. So we have to beg them that please give us a chance. If you did anything wrong, it's fine. There's a money back guarantee. If we never give you the quality or we compromise the quality or compromise your corporate identity, we are going to refund your money fully. Take that as our cost, not your cost. Yes. So what we did, after we done that, they give us a positive review that we are happy with your quality, everything is fine. That is when I said, let me press hard. Let me press hard and look around many corporate companies. So from there, it was a way of starting to be confident about my business that, I'm in the right track now. Yeah. From there, I've never compromised any kind of quality, any of the client that I was working with. I improve on a daily basis instead.
So now as you were landing these big clients, I hope it was not getting to your brain or to your head. Was some people, they start to think that now I've made it, I've arrived, and there's one of the things I saw as I was preparing for this interview about the anatomy of an entrepreneur. And they said, you must dream high, but you keep your feet on the ground. Don't get excited. Keep your feet on the ground. And they say you must also have that brain that's full of a pool of ideas. And you must have a mouth that is very good at communicating the vision. You must have a stomach where you trust your gut. Some things you go with a gut feel. You must have eyes that are continuously looking for opportunities. You must have ears that are always listening to the customer feedback. You must have the heart that is full of passion, and you have tons of that. And you must have legs. All right. And those legs must keep going, meaning keep going and making those cold calls, keep going to try and get more people to believe in what you're offering. So I'm asking you then that as you started landing these big brands like Shell, I hope you didn't have a stolen head now and you think, yeah, I'd figure go. You're taking 3 series or golf. I don't know golf 8 or golf 10. I don't know who was in down golf. But basically, you wanted to reward yourself even before the business was well established. I hope you didn't make that kind of mistake.
No, I didn't go. I still investing in my small business. Whatever man that I make, I have this thing in my mind on business law. Business is a juristic person. I'm a national person as a founder. So business on its own is breathing. So the cash flow, all those things that I'm doing, if I mess up, I take money that was supposed to save the business and make sure that our operation are running smooth, it means I'm fumbling. That's why many small businesses, they operate only for 12 months. Because once they get these lump sums, they buy liabilities instead of investing back to the business. So every money that I make is separate. I only get my salary and get home. And then the money must stay for a business for any nature of like pandemic, outbreaks, for business investment, reserves, residual income, so that my business will be able to operate for the next 20 years.
Yes, so that's very nice because many entrepreneurs, they do not separate their day-to-day financial needs and commitments from those of the business. So the idea of you paying yourself a salary that you live within and not just dipping into the business as and when you feel like you can just take from the business and you become a man about time, a man about town. Yeah. So anyway, all right. So I remember I met with you at a recording of an NM in East London.
Yeah.
Already at that time, you were making a lot of noise about your brand, Prominent Minds, and one could not notice you, with Chris Banti Ako and your and your trademark spectacles and tons of energy, very infectious, type of energy. I mean, after we met there, I knew that this young man is going places. I'm not sure though if Kokstad is the right place. That is what I thought those days. Maybe this is the kind of guy who should go to Durban to hustle in Durban, or Joburg or East London, or But Kokstad, I was like not sure. But here you are, six years later, you've actually built a brand. They normally tell you in business school that almost 3/4 of businesses that are set up as startups, they actually do not reach 5 years of life. So your business has now gone beyond the 5 years, which is the risky, very, very risky period of a startup business, especially the first 3 years. So the fact that you've survived almost 6 years now says there's something in your business. There is something, and there's also, I'm sure, a lot of lessons that you've learned. Now, what I want to find out from you, in the 6 years that you have been running this business of yours, what are your lowest points? Because I think sometimes we tend to think that entrepreneurship is this very sexy, very nice, route to wealth creation. People don't understand that, underneath the success, there's a lot of hard work. There's a lot of persistence. There's a lot of late nights. There's a lot of rejections. There's a lot of sacrifices. There's a lot of need for self-discipline. There's a lot of criticism. There's a lot of doubt, failure, and risks. People just see, when we talk about the iceberg, the little success on the top, and they can make you about by I've made it now. But beneath that success, there's a lot of nights where you don't sleep. So I want you to tell us those sleepless nights, where things were not going as planned, because I don't want us to give people an impression that you just cruised, because there is no entrepreneur who just cruises.
Thanks a lot for the question. This is the emotional part of my life. We talk about low points. As you narrated about the iceberg, people, they only see what is on top, but underneath they can't see how you feel and what challenges, obstacles, and the tests and splinters and the rough paths that you undergo through as a business person. Yeah. I'll tell you something, Doc. Myself, on part of those hardships or low points that I have met myself in life, I found myself in the law of the law. I think it was 2017 when I find myself having an unlawful arrest for someone who was breaching the contract, and then they say a lot of things, and then I was charged with the theft, false pretense, and the fraud.
Yeah.
It was my client. We had an agreement where they contract together, but I didn't know what happened. But he changed everything. But nonetheless, I won't dwell on that. But it's part of the hardship that I met. I spent 2 nights and 2 days in jail for something that I know that I never committed a crime. I never say other name than Prominent Mind and Zizman. I never committed any false pretense, any fraud. She knows very well that she transferred the money, we have an agreement, but I don't know how did she change the story completely. Then I was charged with those. But in 2018, I was happy that the case was dismissed permanently, because they say this person, they were striking business deal. It was a civil. There was no criminal against each other here. So after the investigation was done, so I was charged free, saying that we have not committed any crime, so you may go home. So it was part of the hardship that I met in my life. Not only that one, I used to also...
No, just on that, what lesson did that teach you? Because once you have that litigation or legal challenge, against you, obviously your focus also is distracted.
Yes.
Were you distracted in any way by that which you did not invite, but it came? Yes, it's good that eventually you were cleared, but there must have been a negative impact on your business.
Yes, it did. It did, because many people believe that I am guilty, more especially in Coxet. Then I had to convince them that I'm not. So whenever I go, what I did after that incident, I've never found myself that I've let me lock myself in the door. I keep on and keep on and keep on and keep on.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
You continued hustling.
Yes, I continue hustling.
Time will tell whether I did wrong or not, and eventually you were cleared.
Yes, I was cleared.
So your personal reputation and the business reputation must have also taken a knock.
Yeah, it did, but I was lucky to try to make sure that I clear the air, because after my lawful arrest was handed down, that I'm not guilty, I'm clean. So many people know, our Coxet is too small.
Yeah.
So my lawyers, they make the point that they make sure that our client is clear now. We can be able to associate yourself with it, because he never commit crime anyway from the beginning. There was something that we don't know, whether the arrest was planned or there was a personal vendetta against it. We don't understand. So after that, we make sure that people, they hear that from the horse's mouth that I am cleared now. So people, they start to regain the trust again to me, and then we start working again. They never entertain them. But they say, no, it's fine. We have heard from the court that the man is now cleared.
Yes, beautiful, beautiful. So after almost 5 years of operating from your prefab at the back of your home, at the beginning of this year or late last year, I'm not sure, you decided, I am now a big boy. Let me now go and set up in the CBD of Coxted. Let me rent premises. Let me actually brand the place. Let me, you had lots of things. So you then had premises in the mainstream economy of Coxted. How was that move? What did it mean to you?
It was the biggest achievement of my life, dog. It was my biggest dream to be part of more especially my office is in the right place where it is busy, the biggest place in Coxted, in the upstate. So I can view anyone. So it's much accessible. So I was lucky to get an office in where economy of Coxted are being run. So everyone can just shop around in the malls and they come straight to our offices. So it's much convenience. And it's very visible to everyone. So it was the biggest step of my life last year, because I think I opened this office last year on September after so many years operating at home. It's not too far from home when you go from time. You can even walk from time to home, but the quality of what I was doing was questionable, because when you're working at home sometimes, even if you are going to get a contract like I did now, I've got a contract with Alpha Farm and many other companies that and the list of companies that I work with. Big of a company. So they start to trust me more when they saw me that I'm in a CBD with the landline, everything is formally, all those things. So it was the biggest achievement of my life. In fact, was one of my biggest dreams all these years, that I want to have a big spacious office, having a workforce, receptionist, people that will make sure that administration of the company are running smooth. So indeed, it is happening now, though. To tell you, I think we opened on last year, September.
Yeah.
Okay. Should I continue?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. To tell you, Doc, this thing of, just to highlight one of the biggest achievements for Alpha Farm, I was being noticed.
We are going to get to Alpha Farm.
Oh, okay. No, it's fine, sir. Let me put a hold. Let me put a hold of that.
I'm moving nicely. Because for me, it was a big milestone to see you moving into your own offices in the CBD of Coxted.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Obviously, I was noticing this on Facebook. But now, again, in the world of business, when you sell products that people can touch and feel, sometimes it's not so important where you are operating from. All right. However, if you are selling services, all right, remember with services, you are selling a promise that if you buy this service, this is what you will experience. But unlike a product like a car, you can test drive beforehand. You know, when you are selling a service, professional service, business consulting services, and whatever that you are selling there, you know, I will produce this kind of marketing material. You know, you are promising, but people don't have the ability to test drive your service beforehand. And so to get confidence, they have to then look at things around this business. And one of those is who is leading this business, you know? The other is where is he operating from, you know? Where you are operating from can actually make or break, you know, a deal, because some people then, based on where you're operating from, they may or may not have confidence in your services. And I'm sure you are still the same Zizman who was operating at the back of your house, but now that you've moved to operate, you know, in a space that is actually seen as a reputable, you know, business space, I'm sure your clientele has started to go up as well, to an extent that you now have Alpha Farm partnering with you to assist their franchisees, you know, in the towns in and around Kokstad. So I want to find out then what other positives have come up for your business since you started operating from the CBD, and how has it improved, you know, your turnover and hopefully, you know, profitability of your business?
Thank you very much, Doc, for the question. I think we opened the office on September. We start picking up on October, because the company, as I said, it was founded in 2015. Yeah. So we just improved in terms of how we offer our services, in terms of saying that here we are bringing them much convenience now to make sure that we are able to find us here in the CBD. You can call us on 039. You can find us anytime, any day in our office from 8 up to 5 o'clock. So from October, we've seen that we work with the many of medical fraternity, because doctors, they like the branding. As you see at the back of your door, is beautiful. So you like something which is branded, I mean, you like something which is beautiful as doctors. We've seen that high profile people, they came in numbers in offices. Municipalities, they outsource their work from us. Government organization, they outsource their work from us. All the other organizations, they came in offices in numbers. So as from October, November, December, we were very busy. Say, I won't lie, Doc, we were very busy. To an extent, we said it was a good move to open this office, because people, they start to notice us and say, you know what, they feel huge quality, because they saw the beauty of the office and they have that trust in us that these people are here to stay. Because an office and a corporate identity, Doc, it sends a message that we are here to stay. So under no circumstances that you can find a person who has an 039, a landline, as well as rented a big office, a spacious one, the workforce in it, and then in the next few months down the line, close down. They cannot do that. So we find ourselves that we service people as time in Johannesburg. Some they even outsource their services. We did them here. We courier those products in Pietermaritzburg, Richards Bay, as far as in Cape Town. So as from last year, we're busy. I even forget, I have a list of clients in my profile, but sometimes there are so many of them ever since we operate this office. The turnover has improved by a number of times. I remember when I had a meeting with a business bank, a startup bank, he was saying that you qualified for, I said, no, wait, keep that money for something else. Otherwise, our business is still operating right. So I'm not a person who got carried away with the money that we are offered. I said, no, there are times that I'm going to need that money. There are times that I'm going to need that overdraft. Because business is still running smoothly and it's growing. So if I take this money that you're offering me now, I wouldn't know where did I spend it and what I must do. I will end up buying that Golf 7, Golf 8. Yes. I'll find myself go buy for Golf 8 instead of saying that.
And that was wise of you. That was wise of you, because a number of times young people, whether it is professionals, you've just got your MPCHP, or you've just become an engineer or an entrepreneur like you, the banks, they throw all of these credit lines, you know, to you. And if you are not wise, you get hooked by those credit lines. And the next minute, when things don't go well, they want their money, and if you're not paying because there is COVID-19 and there are no clients, there's lockdown level 5, then they liquidate your business. So it is very important that you use the credit lines for good kind of credit, credit that will take your business forward, but you're not spending on things that are really, like you said earlier, just a liability, that will make you to look good out there, but actually it is strangulating your business. So that's good of you. That's good of you. All right. Now I'm going to ask you something that is, I've seen in your Facebook page. You've written a lot about it, that at some point you used to want to be considered as one of the commissioners for NYDA, National Youth Development
Agent.
Yes, right. But you then wrote recently that, you know what, you are happy that you never eventually made it there, because you found that as much as it is supposed to empower young people and their dreams, but your experience is different. Can you just talk about that? Because we are now, going towards wrapping up, but I want us to look at support systems for young entrepreneurs. And you've got your NYDAs, that are supposed to assist. You've got other development funding agencies, your CFAs, your IDCs, if you are more like an industrialist, so there's quite a number of cooler enterprises and whatever. So what has been your experience in terms of support programs for young entrepreneurs, especially those who are in rural South Africa, like you are?
Thank you very much for the question again, Doc. Doc, I'm going to be frankly honest with you. I'm going to be brutally honest, in fact. Specifically about NYDA, National Youth Development Agents. At first, I was interested to be part of those board members, because of my expertise and the innovative ideas that I was going to bring in. Because I'm that person who has a zeal and the desire and the will to see youth develop. As I said when I was writing my bio, if you look at my bio, I said I want to see the youth of South Africa getting the equal opportunities, the youth of South Africa, because I'm still within the youth brackets. So I still look up for youth, and I want to see youth not become beggars or to stay in the street and begging from the old people and stuff like that, to occupy the position that are supposed to be occupied by the youth. So what I've noticed about the NYDA, disclaimer, Doc, disclaimer, I'm not a politician. I'm not politicizing this one. So I don't want people to get ideas that maybe I'm supporting this faction or I'm in this political organization. I'm just a neutral entrepreneur. So, but I'm gonna be brutally honest with you. I've watched NYDA, its footprint, and what was done by the youth or done for youth. So what I've noticed is that I think when it comes to the NYDA, when it comes to push their objectives, they fail youths a lot. NYDA in particular, they fail youths a lot. Unless otherwise you know someone in there. So they will frustrate the application in whatever case may be. So from my observation, when I was observing the NYDA and the way it does, even remember there was couples before they were this one, that new application. Last year, if I'm not mistaken, it was 2019, if I'm not mistaken. There were that newly appointed board members, but there were challenges within it. They ended up disbanding it from the parliament. That some people, they were not supposed to be in there. So some they buy board, all these stories that are in there. So when it comes to NYDA, I would like to give a solution when it comes to them, that as a youth of South Africa, they must create an economic profile, a fair economic profile, where they create a database with a proven track record or hard evidence that these are deserving beneficiaries, regardless of their political affiliation, beliefs, religious belief, and stuff like that. But if a youth has an idea and ambitions, and you see that there's a capacity and the potential, they must fund that idea. They must get that business plan and make sure that they run with it. They're not able to scrutinize what your political affiliation, who you come with. Who do you know here when you're in NYDA? Who come with it? Who recommend you to come and read? But they do that in terms of helping youth in number. The youth are capable to create jobs. We are the job makers. We are capable with energy. We can run and run and run like nobody's business. But if you're not giving us the chance to prove our capacity and our potential, as I said that, I think NYDA is very here and there in terms of making sure that they identify the right people. So if NYDA can strive to make sure that they reach out those people even in the remote areas. We have people that are good in the remote area that can invent some product, but they don't have a working capital or operational capital that can be able to make sure that business operates smoothly. So I was interested to be part of the board member until, because I was approached by one of the two youngsters now to apply, because I think it was ended somewhere in this April to do the application. I said, no, I'm no longer interested. The reason behind is because the NYDA is run by those people who have their selfish interests and people want to push their hidden agenda, and those people want to use the resources to fulfill their needs, all those things, without having to involve the masses in terms of the youth of South Africa to benefit from those grants.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So basically, you feel that something is not working in terms of their mandate and the actual, opportunities. There's a bit of a mismatch because issues of politics and political affiliation tends to cloud situation rather than the merits of the business concepts or the business proposals that people are bringing in. And that is your gripe.
Yes, Doc. Yes.
All right. Now, all right. So, okay, that's one side. But there are many other agencies, of government that are supposed to assist entrepreneurs. What is your experience? Was as you grow a business, you will obviously need, you need money to fund growth.
Yes.
To fund growth of business. And commercial banks are not always very flexible in understanding the entrepreneurial, cycles of cash flow and all of that. So what has been your experience in terms of the commercial banks, and also, and you don't have to name the names of the banks, but development finance agencies of government, all right, and also the commercial banks. What has been your experience? You're not only involved in Prominent Minds, you've got other businesses that you are interested, you've got an interest in construction, in IT, and whatever. So what has been your interest in terms of sourcing funding, either to start a new venture or to help growth of an existing venture?
Okay, thank you for the question again, Doc. I think let me first share the positive reviews. As much as NYDA failed us, I'll mention another. There's small enterprise finance agent, SIFA, that work close is a sister, or is work close with the small business development, as well as the CEDA sister company. SIFA and CEDA are sister companies. CEDA did fund me. I think it was 2019. I applied the funding for them. They did fund me because they find that I fit for the funding. And then I also, before lockdown last year, I attended the pitching small enterprise finance agents. We were just naming the price of the amount of money that we want. Which is 1 million. They were ranged from 50,000 to 1 million. So you go there to do the pitching for 3 minutes to tell them what kind of a business what they're looking for. I did the pitching last year. I won. So as we speak now, SIFA is busy processing my funding, which I believe that by the end of May, I'll receive the operational, the machinery, because what they normally do, they don't disperse the money to our account. They ask us to provide them with a quotation. They buy what we need for business, which I like that. I don't want to get the money because money can tempt you. You can get a cash in a bank account and say, no, let me charge this money and buy that golf cake you talk about. So they say, no, they want the quotation. They're going to buy that machinery for our business to grow. So SIFA did approve me. CEDA did approve me. I'm not saying that all these funding agencies, they don't fund the company. I don't want to discourage the youth.
And I just wanted your experience, because it can't just be negative experience. There must be positive experience.
Yes,
I was just highlighting the NYDA because you've written quite a number of times about how you are not happy with how they do things. However, I also wanted to hear from you about other sources of funding, commercial and also the development funding agencies. And I'm glad to hear that with CIFA, which is actually now led by a person that I know very well, Mr. Mkolisi Matamba, who actually is very, very pro, entrepreneurship and all of that. So I'm happy to hear about that positive, contribution that is coming for your business, because, like I said, at a certain point when you are running your business, it will require funds for it to move to the next level, acquisition of assets that will actually help your business to move to the next level of quality of services and delivery. Yeah. All right. Okay. So we've talked about your experiences. What have been your highlights when you look in the last 6 years now? What have been your highlights, about your business, besides you moving to premises where your business is now able to afford to work from, commercial property, premises? What have been your other highlights as an entrepreneur?
I think my most highlights is when I managed to nail most of the thing. Like, I'll tell you, when we're doing something like proposals.
Yeah.
I think there was a year in 2017, to be correct, yes. I did propose to many corporate companies looking for sponsorship for many of the projects that I was hitting in the terms of the events. So I was happy, like when I bring into board such companies like BMW, Vodacom, the list is endless, MTN, all these big companies, when I presenting all these proposals that was done by me, developed by me, and go to them to give me the chance to present those. So that was the most highlight of my life, and say, even though that was for our clients, was our client would say, no, we are going to do this for you.
Yeah.
We manage your event, also going to source the funding or the sponsorship for your events. So that was the most highlight of my life, where I'll be able to listen by these big companies and nail the presentation and say, no, we are on board. We are going to sponsor the event. So these are kind of highlights that are positive in my life. Of course, there are those negative highlights where I told about the rejection, and some people will say,
which are opportunities for learning. Those are learning moments. If you look at them that way, they are rejections, but they are also learning moments, because you need those experiences so that you don't take things for granted.
Yes. So the no point, like for instance, the negative things where I was told that Yaboniswa.
Yeah.
As young as you are, why are you wasting your time because we're young, we're supposed to be at the workplace? Why are you running around like as if you're bored, you don't know what to do and stuff like that? So there are many people who are always trying to turn me off and drag me down and put me under the bus. That what we're doing is not meant for you. The business is for someone who has money, who has a financial muscle, to come from a rich family. So you cannot make it businessman. Leave this, go find some job. What you're doing, you feel like you're bored. But you know what I like? The positive I received today from the same people. They came to my office and congratulated me that, man, your dream is alive. You inspire us. We draw inspiration from you. We draw strength from you. We thought we are Boniswa. We thought we are doing this thing for fun, or you want to be famous or stuff. Yeah. But you know that the goal is big. The dream is bigger than what we see. So this, I think, that the highlight of my life, where people, they normally reduce me sometimes and say, no, you cannot make it. You are wasting your time. Go back to work, but you're still young. All those things.
Yes. All right. Now, as we look at wrapping up, to many young people out there who dream of having, their own businesses, because jobs are in short supply and they are not going to be coming, in big numbers anytime soon. So to people who got dreams of starting their own businesses out there, what words of wisdom do you have for them if they are watching? As some are watching here, we've got a few people who are already, watching you. Noma Welenjongo says, I'm watching Zizman. Race Media at Lengisi. It says, we watching Mr. Zizipho, Nogwaza, Pelondala, saying big ups, So yeah, you've got some people who are really cheering you on to continue doing what you are doing. So, but what message do you have for those who maybe are not courageous enough to take the plunge and follow their dreams?
Okay. I want to encourage you taking this picture with me. I have this certificate with me, Doc, where I did the commercial ad, professional commercial ad. Do you remember for Alpha Farm, right?
Yes.
I did certificate where I get more than 50,000 viewers. So before I can encourage the youths, I want to tell them something. I've never done any commercial ad before. So, when you're doing the commercial ad, you need someone with a vast experience.
Yeah.
Who has operating in this industry, we come with the storyboard, all this kind of experience. Yeah. But I took a chance. I said, let me throw myself to the walls and do something that no one does in the area. Because remember, when you're about to do a professional commercial ad for a big corporate company, you need to consider many facts. What if doesn't come out right, and then Alpha Farm decline all those things? Because I'm gonna be dragging their brand under the bus. So I was checking their reputable brand in the process. So it means what I want to say to the youths is that, dear youths of South Africa, wherever you're watching, you have a potential in you, a biggest potential. You have a capacity. Until you start doing it, allow to grow gradually, learn while you're doing it. If you don't start it, you will never know how good you are. And what is paramount important that I want to also emphasize, Doc, is that, dear youths of South Africa, may you please discover your own talent. We have been taught something from the university level, from the school, from high school, and then pair that information with your own talent. That is where I am today, because with the business acumen that I've managed to have till today's date. So I started with those learning, and then I paired it with the talent of knowing how to speak to people, how to be creative, how to master things, how to be punctually, how to be professionally, how to make things right, how to not compromise the quality of my work, how to not supply the quantity instead of quality. So it means I want to encourage the youth to say to them, start now and allow to grow gradually. And as you said, that the economic outlook, not only in South Africa, in the entire world, after the COVID-19 has hit, are so big. So when it comes to the job market, it's so scarce, unfortunately. So people are being retrenched on a daily basis. It means there is a gap that we need as people to create jobs ourselves. I used to say that you can even start by selling something to test your business acumen. You can even sell water if there be anything that can be able to buy. If you have 500 francs or savings, you can buy even a box of apple. It means swallow the pride if you want to make money for yourself. Swallow the pride. Even if you have a degree, but you see the job market is so bad. So I want to encourage the youth of South Africa that swallow the pride, take a degree off. Because in the process, when you start something dope, we are creating an ultimate networking. Because if you decided to stay next to the road and sell apples and tell them, actually, I'm the graduate, but because I don't find jobs, so I decided to sell apples in the street. Then, therefore, you might be like to find someone who's driving there and say, no, I need your profession in my company. Where are you based? I need to have your number. So I want to encourage you to do something. Fukuza. Tell me I'm going to talk. Fukuza. And my also tell me I usually use. Give those blankets every morning at Dr. Malinga Kick. You know Dr. Malinga Kick? When Malunga is dancing. So I always encourage you that don't sleep until 10 a.m.
Yes.
Give Dr. Malinga Kick those blankets. At 5 a.m. must wake up with the youth. Try to find something else. Then go network. Your network is your network. If you keep networking every day, come to our offices as youths, collaborate, form consortium, asking many ideas. If you have an idea, then you want to make sure that you curate it. We are here in these offices. We can work together to curate your idea. You have an idea that you don't have funds for that. I'll give you an idea that you can fund your idea with the clients. Then start small while aiming big. But what is important that I want to leave with the youth of South Africa, if you start something like a business, allow to be mentored. Don't be so arrogant and full of ego and say, no, I did business management. No one is going to mentor. Allow the people who have a vast experience like you, Doc, to give you a way of how to do this. Let's say you are operating within the health fraternity. So in that fraternity on its own, you need people who are champions and the legend of the game. to tell you how to do this thing. Don't have that thing, I studied business management, I will give you, so I know how to do this thing. Practically, we might not master it because we did the theory and the sort of practical that not aligned is something that we can do for ourselves. So that's the message that I want to say to the youth of South Africa. Do something for them, start something, and then look for someone to mentor you in that particular industry or mode of business.
Yes. I think you've said a mouthful, Mhlekazi. Now, the last part, just this partnership between you and Alpha Farm, what does it mean to you? What does it mean to your business?
Hey, Doc, to be honest with you, it came this as a surprise. You know, the day one of their representatives drive all the way from Durban to meet me at Coxsage, I was so humbled. You know, I said to myself, do I still a small business owner or I'm established? Because for me, I didn't expect that such treatment. Drive all the way from Durban, from the other branch in Alpha Farm to meet me in Coxsage. They phoned me and said, no, what have a meeting with you? I'm signed by the head office Alpha Farm. I said, maybe I'm dreaming. Until I met the representative from Alpha Farm. Then when I met Darrell, the franchisee, the French manager for this region from Durban and Eastern Cape, he first laughed at me because I won't lie, dog. I'm not a person who always nervous. I'm not a person who always jovial and energetic. But on that day, I was not for a moment. I was not like, maybe this guy is tricking me. I don't know whether it's true or not. But when we prep the news and say, we've decided to nominate you as a franchise licensee, as well as we want to contract your company for 6 months. It's a probation period for that matter, to do the branding for all these Eastern Cape pharmacies, branding, marketing, advertising, and activation. So the company and me. So they give me 6 months to prove myself. And they even said, if you did well, we are going to commercialize this thing to national. Imagine. I said, oh, okay, I need to pull up my source. Because if I lose this in this program, I start my contract now as in April. Tomorrow we start to work on that contract because we sign everything. So I said, okay, fine. I'm given 6 months to prove myself. So it came at the right time of saying that, okay, I have resources, I have enough workforce, I have means to make sure I drive this project successfully. I didn't have to say, oh my God, what I'm going to do now because this is a huge job for me. I said, no, I'm equal to the task, including my team is equal to the task. I want to make sure that we impress you, we do everything diligently and make sure that we deliver the quality as we did for these pharmacies privately before we get this contract. So they were impressed with the work we did for Mountain Leaf and Tall. They say, no, you know what? We impressed and we received the positive review from our people franchise and found this is the right guy that we can work with in terms of Eastern Cape. So I've got those recommendations from these two Alpha Farm in Mountain Leaf and Tall. So from there, I said, I'm humbled. But what I'm going to do to let, if you notice, whenever I did my caption about my business, there's a hashtag there, to let our work speak for itself.
Yes.
So we don't speak, we let the work do the talking. So you give us a chance as Dr. Fundi and say, Zizman, come and rebrand our offices and say, no, okay, fine, here's a quotation. We kept the offices with the brand and then say, you are happy. And say, I am happy. So we don't talk too much. We let the work do the talking on ourselves. That's what is happening on these pharmacies.
And this market that you've looked at, I mean, healthcare, whether we're talking pharmacies or independent healthcare professionals, doctors, physiotherapists, occupational therapists, psychologists, it's a virgin market, man. You know, you can exploit it in that part of the world. You don't really have much competition. So I'm almost just saying to you, big ups, continue. There's more money to be made in that space. Generally, healthcare professionals, we're not good at issues around marketing. In fact, our professional boards, they make us to feel guilty about marketing. It should be about word of mouth and all of that. But in the new millennium, you can't just sit there with that small board with a Dr. Fundi Lenyati outside. You need to do more to actually be a personal brand yourself, but also your business. What is it promising differently from the next, practice? So I'm actually saying to you, use the pharmacies as the springboard, but there's a lot of virgin market out there for the healthcare professionals. You might as well expand to the legal firms as well. So basically the professionals in that part of the world, they certainly do need somebody to help them to zhuzh up, their offices and their practices. So yeah.
Thank you, John. I take a note. I take a note.
All right. So I think I just wanted to speak to you for 60 minutes, but we've actually gone through to 90 minutes, which is a lot. But it has been 90 minutes only because I'm enjoying talking to you. I'm enjoying to hear a young person who is not waiting for some handout from government, an angry young person who believes that things should just be given to them on a plate. And I also do not believe that everybody who's unemployed will make it as an entrepreneur. You know, some have the qualities, but others have to find other ways. You know, entrepreneurship is not for everybody, you know, but you may not know. But one thing very important is you must have high risk appetite. You must have high levels of resilience because there are times where you yourself, as the business owner, may not know if you'll be able to pay yourself because you have to pay everybody else and you are the last person to be paid. And that can actually create a serious situation, especially if you've got family responsibilities. So the point here is there are many out there who are potential entrepreneurs, but not every person out there who is looking for a job will make it as an entrepreneur. And what's important then is that we need to know our strengths and we need to know our weaknesses and do a little bit of research about what qualities are required of somebody to be a successful entrepreneur. Ask yourself if you have those qualities and be honest to yourself. If you do not have, don't venture into entrepreneurship because I always say it is the hardest route to wealth creation. You know, some of the people I qualified with, you know, who went and got jobs in big firms, you know, they got safety of income. And some of them are quite ahead, you know, of me if I look at the years since we qualified. But I'm happy about where I am because I was not cut out to work for other people. So what I'm trying to say is to be an entrepreneur, you need to have certain qualities and go check yourself against those qualities and be honest with yourself. Do not go and try something. If you are a person who cannot take rejection, entrepreneurship is not for you. But anyway, with those words, Zizman, I want to thank you for spending time with us. I want to thank you for encouraging the young people of South Africa to go for it. You know, they must not have limits. They must go and kick those doors. You must go and demand opportunities, but they must also discover their passions. And once they discover their passions, try and see what can they make out of those passions. If you don't have passion, then entrepreneurship is not for you. So with those words, thank you very much, Zizman, and thank you to everybody who joined us. It's been a long interview, but I hope the young people who have joined in have picked up one or two things from the example of Mr. Zizipho Nogwaza, who is a hustler of note. And I'm still looking forward to seeing your trajectory as you grow as an entrepreneur. And I'm sure you're going far and you have my support. So thank you very much to everybody. Till next time.
Thank you very much, Doc. That was wonderful.